Consider this scenario. You've been disciplined. You've been consistent. Every single month, you move money into your savings account. $100, $200, sometimes more. And after a few years of doing this, you open your banking app and you see it. $10,000. You did what most people never do. You saved. But then something strange happens. You do the math. That $10,000 sitting in a standard savings account at 0.5% interest has earned you $50 in an entire year. $50. Meanwhile, you keep hearing words like index funds, compound growth, stock market returns, and a very uncomfortable question starts to form in your mind. Am I doing this wrong? The honest answer? Not entirely. Saving is essential, but saving alone will not build real wealth. And the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be financially almost always comes down to one critical transition: the transition from saving to investing. That is exactly what we are going to cover today, step by step. No guesswork, no complexity, just a clear, structured path.
My name is Achird. If you're someone who has money sitting in a savings account but isn't sure how or when to start investing it, this video is built for you. Hit the subscribe button and let's get into it.
Let's begin with something that sounds controversial, but is financially true. Saving money is not the same as building wealth. Saving is preservation. It protects what you already have. Investing is growth. It multiplies what you put in. These are two fundamentally different functions, and most people treat them as the same thing. That is a costly mistake. Here's what the numbers actually show. If you save $10,000 in a typical savings account at 1% annual interest, after 1 year, you have $10,100. Your money grew by $100. Now, let's compare. Historically, the S&P 500, the index that tracks the 500 largest U.S. companies, has delivered approximately 10% average annual returns over long periods. That same $10,000 invested in earning 10% annually becomes $11,000 after 1 year. That is a $900 difference in a single year. But the real gap, the one that changes lives, reveals itself over time. After 20 years, savings at 1%, approximately $12,200. Investing at 10%, approximately $67,275. Same starting amount, same discipline, completely different financial outcome. This is not a minor difference. This is the difference between financial stagnation and financial freedom.
Here is what most financial content gets wrong. The reason people don't invest isn't because they don't understand the math. It's because of psychology. Saving feels safe. You can see the number. It doesn't move. It doesn't drop without warning on a Tuesday afternoon. Investing feels uncertain. Markets fluctuate. Headlines get alarming. And that emotional discomfort, that sense of losing control, causes intelligent, disciplined people to stay in savings indefinitely. But here's what I want you to understand. The discomfort of watching a portfolio fluctuate short-term is the price you pay for long-term financial growth. Every serious investor has made peace with that reality. There is also a second psychological barrier, and this one is rarely discussed: decision paralysis. When people decide to start investing, they face an overwhelming number of choices: stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, real estate, crypto, commodities, retirement accounts. And when everything is an option, many people choose nothing. So they go back to their savings account, which feels familiar, which feels safe. But familiar and safe are not the same as effective. The goal of this video is to remove that paralysis, to give you a structured, sequential path so that you know exactly what to do and in what order. Step 1. Build a non-negotiable emergency fund. Before you invest a single dollar, you need financial insulation. 3 to 6 months of living expenses, held in liquid savings. This money is not an investment. It is not an opportunity fund. It is a structural safety net. Here is why this matters from an investment perspective.
The number one reason people sell investments at the worst possible time is because they need cash unexpectedly, a job loss, a medical expense, an urgent repair. Without an emergency fund, you are forced to liquidate investments, often during a downturn, which locks in losses and destroys long-term returns. The emergency fund protects your investments from your own circumstances. Calculate your monthly essential expenses, rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation. Multiply by 3 at minimum. That is your target. Fund that account first. Keep it in a high-yield savings account where it earns something, but where it is fully accessible. Then, and only then, move to the next step.
Step 2. Create a clear mental separation. This step sounds simple. Do not underestimate it. You need to divide your money into 2 clearly defined purposes. Bucket 1, safety capital. This is your emergency fund and any short-term savings goals. A home purchase within 2 to 3 years, for example. This money does not get invested. It stays stable and accessible. Bucket 2, growth capital. This is money you will not need for a minimum of 5 years. This is your investment capital. It is allowed and expected to fluctuate in value because its job is long-term growth. When you blur the line between these 2 buckets, you make emotional financial decisions. You pull from investments when you shouldn't. You don't invest capital that should be working for you. Define the separation clearly. Label it. Write it down if necessary. Step 3. Start with a small, committed amount. A common misconception is that you need significant capital to begin investing. You do not. Most major brokerage platforms, Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, and others, allow you to begin with $50 to $100. Some allow fractional shares, meaning you can invest in companies like Apple or Amazon without purchasing a full share. Start small, but start consistently. The primary objective at this stage is not to generate significant returns. The objective is to build the habit, to normalize the process of transferring money into investments on a regular schedule. Because here's the truth about investing mastery. It is not about timing the market perfectly. It is about participating consistently, month after month, regardless of whether markets are rising or falling. Set up an automatic monthly transfer. Treat it as a non-optional expense, the same way you treat rent. Remove the decision from your routine and remove the temptation to delay. Step 4. Begin with simple, proven investments. This is where new investors consistently go wrong. Excited by the idea of building wealth, they dive into complex strategies immediately. Individual stock picking, options trading, leveraged ETFs, speculative assets. These approaches are not appropriate for beginners, and frankly, they underperform simple strategies even for experienced investors the majority of the time. Here is what actually works. Index funds. An index fund is a single investment that tracks a broad market index, such as the S&P 500. Rather than betting on one company, you own a proportional stake in hundreds of companies simultaneously. This provides instant diversification, dramatically lower risk than individual stocks, and historically competitive returns. Warren Buffett, widely regarded as the greatest investor of the modern era, has repeatedly stated that for the average investor, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund is the most rational long-term investment available. That is not a beginner's shortcut. That is the recommendation of the world's most successful investor. Look for index funds with an expense ratio below 0.20%. That means you pay less than $2 per year for every $1,000 invested. Your returns stay with you. Step 5. Leverage the power of consistent compounding. This is a step where the strategy accelerates. Let's look at a concrete example. You invest $300 per month into a diversified index fund. The market averages 8% annual returns, a conservative estimate based on historical data. After 25 years, total contributions $90,000. Final portfolio value approximately $285,000.
The difference, nearly $195,000, is not money you earned through work. It is money your existing investments generated on your behalf. This is compounding, and it is the most reliable wealth-building mechanism available to the average person. But compounding requires time, which is why the single most costly financial mistake most people make is not a bad investment decision. It is waiting. Every year you delay beginning to invest is a year of compounding you cannot recover. Time is the one resource in investing that cannot be purchased, borrowed, or replaced. Start now with what you have and let time do the work. Before we close, I want to address the question I know many of you are already thinking. What happens when the market drops? The answer is straightforward, and it is backed by over a century of market data. Market downturns are a normal, recurring feature of investing, not an anomaly. Corrections of 10% or more happen roughly once a year on average. Bear markets of 20% or more occur every few years. And every single time in recorded market history, a diversified, long-term portfolio has recovered and reached new highs. Here is the counterintuitive reality for disciplined investors. When markets decline, your regular monthly investment buys more shares at a lower price. When markets recover, and they have always recovered, those additional shares appreciate significantly. This is called dollar-cost averaging, and it means that for a long-term investor, market volatility is not a threat, it is an advantage. The investors who lose money in markets are primarily those who panic, who sell during downturns and lock in losses permanently. Discipline, consistency, and a long time horizon are not just helpful traits, they are the strategy.
Let's bring this together. The path from saving to investing is not complicated, but it requires clarity and sequence. Step 1. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Protect your investments from your own life circumstances. Step 2. Separate your money into safety capital and growth capital. Know what each dollar is for. Step 3. Start investing small amounts consistently. Build the habit before you scale the amount. Step 4. Begin with simple, low-cost index funds. Don't let complexity become an excuse for inaction. Step 5. Stay consistent. Stay patient. Give compounding the time it needs to work. Because here is the financial truth that most people learn too late. Saving gives you stability. Investing gives you freedom. And the gap between the two is not a matter of intelligence or income or opportunity. It is a matter of decision. Make that decision today. If this breakdown gave you clarity, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we cover the financial principles and strategies that most people never learn, explained clearly so you can act on them. And I want to hear from you. Are you currently in the saving stage, or have you already made the move into investing? Let me know in the comments below.